You're listening to the B2B Growth Think Tank, the show that brings you the virtual hot seat where each week my expert guests and I help another business leader by masterminding actionable solutions to a specific challenge they're currently trying to solve in their business. So if you're looking for answers to a specific challenge that you're facing, that if you could solve in the next 90 days would have a huge impact on your growth, send it in to thinkttank@thinklikeafish.co.uk and we'll see if we can feature you on the show. My name is Adam King, your host and the captain of the ship at growth consultancy Think Like a Fish. And if you're ready to rethink what's possible for your business and discover the growth strategies, advice and insight to turn this new vision into a reality, let's get started. Hey, Adam here, and thanks very much for tuning in. And as you are, I'm going to make the assumption that you are responsible for generating revenue for an established B2B professional service business, and you're looking to grow your revenue. So what I've got for you, you're going to absolutely love, because I've recently released my new revenue multiplier calculator and bonus training, where using this tool and following the training, you'll discover how to uncover the hidden revenue opportunities in your business and be able to systemize your growth using 7 revenue multipliers that can double your business in 12 months or less. So if you want to go and grab your copy, go to thinklikeafish.co.uk/calculator. Now, on to today's episode. So for those that haven't listened to the show before, it's your first time, the virtual hot seat is basically this section where a listener has sent in a question or a challenge or an opportunity they're wanting to maximize, and they're looking for a little bit of advice. So the guest and I, Roland in this case, are going to deal with this challenge. We're going to brainstorm some thoughts and ideas. And I think one of the best things that we can leave this person with is not necessarily the absolute solution, but maybe helping them ask themselves some better questions to find the solution on their own. So today's virtual hot seat question, let me bring it up, is, so this is from someone that is, and this is why I say it's kind of interesting. They own a podcast producer. So they're a podcast production agency. So they do the editing and all that kind of stuff for podcasts. So the challenge is, our biggest growth challenge is consistently finding the right podcasters for our service. It's tough to narrow down a prospect list to separate the hobby podcasters from those using it as a lead generation channel and investing in the resources to actually produce a professional quality show. Now, we're finding it more difficult to find quality leads, say, versus a B2B professional service provider who can use things like Sales Navigator to filter down their exact target market with a budget for their services. We don't seem to be able to find that kind of level of detail for what we do. What would you advise trying to connect more with other podcasters? Adam, so, Roland, what's your first thoughts?
I would even love to pass this one to you, because I will give you the point of view how we would engage with them, how we filter them. But I think when it comes to the podcast world, you have a better understanding to filter out where is the golden nugget. So I'm curious from your point.
Well, I mean, one of the things, like in terms of sort of thinking about, where do we find the people like that separate the hobby podcasters from the people that are using it as lead gen or even sort of actually commercializing the service, and go to the charts, go to the new, those sorts of things, and maybe they're doing that already, but it's one of those things that you can make an assumption quite nicely that if you're running a business focused podcast, you're going to be using that for a business reason. So those are the kind of people that would listening to some of the shows previously and listening to the quality of the audio and the production value and all that kind of thing. Like, it's not a simple process, but you need to understand some things about the show. So it's kind of like, yes, you can do that. And there are ways of doing things in Sales Navigator, like a keyword podcast, podcaster, podcast host, all that kind of thing. You will start to get actual people that have that within their profile. It just takes research. You've got to really drill down, and I wouldn't approach a single podcaster without having at least listened to 3 of their episodes, so that you know exactly what it is that they are actually looking to do with a show, because you'll be able to tell quite quickly if A, they already are produced, B, if they are running this as a hobby podcast, or if they are running it as a professional podcast, And then you'll know the right way to approach them, because you'll know where the potential value that you offer them is. So that's the first thing I'd sort of think about.
I think there are only a limited amount of really good podcasts in the B2B space. So when you trim it down, and let's say you have globally 100 to 150 that are really relevant for this agency, I would simply ask 100. Let's say we look at these podcasts as accounts. That's simple. You have a decision maker, you have a co-host, and the only thing you need to do is to ask. So even if you ask this person and they say it's not interesting for us, they know their competitors, they know their other peers in the game, and they will refer you. So I would be big on referrals. I would be big on asking them if this would be a fit for them. I would definitely do the research for the top 120, then engage with them via video, schedule a call, ask them, and go out with 2 referrals. That's how I would do it.
100%. And I think that, when it comes to the world of podcasting, you start to realize that there is a lot of exchange that goes on. Like, podcasting is a great place to be, because there isn't like competitors. Like, nobody sort of competes with each other when it comes to podcasts. People podcast and they guest on podcasts, and they do swaps and vice versa and all that kind of thing. And absolutely, it's kind of like asking those questions when you have someone like, who else do you know that may well value what this is, and all that kind of stuff. So that's one thing of doing it. The other one, and I do know, because I asked this question as a clarification, they have a podcast themselves. However, I don't think it is focused enough on what they are trying to achieve. So the irony is, I would start, or I would refocus or think about refocusing the podcast to invite podcasters on that fit your profile, to ask them about their podcasting, like the things that, tips and tricks, like how you've grown your audience, all that sort of stuff. Because that is another way of opening a door. Podcasters love going on other podcasts. You get that conversation going, you build that relationship first off, and you get to ask of recommendations and all the rest of it. So that kind of fits nicely onto that referral piece that you talk about there. It's an idea. Like, you'd really need to focus down on either a niche or a topic when it comes to podcasting that is going to be interesting for podcasters. But yeah, there's another way of doing it. That's one thing I could consider.
Adam, let me jump onto something. I know we talked on this before we went live. Let's do one quick game, and it's called First Things First. I drop a word, and you need to reply one word that comes to your mind with what you associate with that word the most. Okay?
Well, I knew this was going to be a fun episode, so I'm going.
So
let's go.
Let's go. The only rule is you can't repeat the word twice. Okay, so it always must be a different. First things that come into your mind when it comes to following up.
More.
First thing that comes into your mind when it comes to complex, big deals.
Relationship.
LinkedIn.
Conversation.
People that want to be on your show.
Partner.
Last thing, your audience.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Great.
So what was the idea behind that?
Because when you ask somebody specific to explain something in one word, then you see where they're coming from. When we ask, what about your audience? Awesome. When we speak about follow-up, more. Maybe it's a sign that you also want to do more follow-up, or would recommend other people to do more follow-up. So that's just where we want to see where somebody puts their focus.
So yeah, maybe it's a sort of like exercise to think about for this person in a way. But yeah, it's kind of like, I think that they're getting lost in some of the mechanics of like, where do I find these people? Like, maybe if you can't find them on LinkedIn, for example. Like, I saw somebody do something really, really good, and I cannot remember the name of them right now. And I like to give credit where credit's due. So I feel bad that I'm going to say this without giving them the credit, but they were somebody that did, I think, something similar, or they did podcast booking or something like that. And every single day they would do a video and post it on their LinkedIn about a podcast. I listened to this podcast. This episode was fantastic. What I really love about the show is this, X, Y, and Z. They tagged that person. They tagged other people that they thought would also benefit from listening to the show. And basically what they did is become almost like a promoter of podcasters through LinkedIn, because podcasts are difficult to promote. So that is one way that you could do it, because you're actually serving the people that you want to serve before you even actually talk about what it is that you do. And you're looking at different ways of bringing attention to people. By bringing attention to other people, you're bringing attention to yourself. I think that that's something else that you could consider doing, because it's a network, if you're thinking just LinkedIn. So yeah, I think that there is, the actual way that you then reach out, like if I can give anyone any kind of advice when you're reaching out to a podcaster, is make sure that you listen to at least an episode, ideally 3. You get the name right. Like 100, like I cannot believe how many people don't get that right. And you actually show, if you're, either if you're looking to be a guest or if you're looking to do some work with people, it's like, what have you seen? Like, actually, maybe even show that, look, I've listened to the show. I think it's fantastic. Oh, and by the way, what I did, I've written a review, take a screenshot of the review and say, boom, there we go. Like, that's the kind of thing that gets you attention. Like, thank you very much. Like, that's amazing. I'm now going to read the rest of your email. Like, starting with that kind of what I call a consumption hook. Like, what is it? Is it a promotion hook or is it a social hook? The social hook is, I listened to you and I listened to your episode with X, Y, and Z, or I heard you there and blah, 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 blah. The promotional hook is, oh, and by the way, I left a review and I've also shared it on my, I've shared the latest episode with my fans and followers, all that kind of thing. Like, the thing is, that does take more time than just doing a Sales Navigator search, bringing them all up and sticking it in an automation software and going send. So I'm hoping that the person that, that sent this in is prepared to do the right kind of things that are going to be required, because it is clear that there are a lot of people out there doing it wrong.
Adam, good news. You will receive in the future from a lot of people a lot of personalized videos that will tell you, I've written a review and I've shared the last episode. Let us come on the show.
Well, I think every time I get it in a different way, I am going to politely direct them to this episode and say, have a listen. And then if you still want to have a conversation, try again. I mean, I'm always open to talking to people and conversations and all the rest of it. I just think that it is just good manners and polite to do it in the right way. I do the same, and I would like, that I just expect the same thing in return. So there we go. But that was awesome. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that can help this person here with, in terms of how they go and find some of these people, but more importantly, how you then manage the relationship, how you do it differently. So thank you, Roland. That was a good one. I love that little game in the middle. So that's it for this episode. I hope you found it valuable. I hope you got some great ideas that you can take away and apply to your business to help you grow. If you did, please share it with somebody else that might also find this valuable, because they will thank you for it. Also, to let you know that I have a podcast gift page where I put a lot of resources that I love to share with my listeners. You can find the links to join the Facebook community there, and you can get my book, The Conversational Relationship Marketing, and the audiobook version, all for free, plus a number of other resources I'll be adding over time on that page. So make sure you head there to thinklikeafish.co.uk/podcast gift, and you can help yourself to the things that make most sense to you. And if you have enjoyed the show, please make sure you're subscribed. You'll get updated as the new episodes come out. And finally, last favor, please consider giving the show your honest rating and review on Apple Podcasts. I read every single one. They mean the world for me. I love hearing from my listeners, and it does help others find the show as well. So if you want to go and do that, I'd really appreciate it. But until next time, have an awesome day, and we'll speak soon.